Hi there, my name is Cole, and today we are going to be building this LEGO Speed Champions display garage. Now, if you would like to build this yourself, you can try and follow this video, or you can get digital instructions at my website, MCGWERKS.com. Link is in the description. So I started off by attempting to make this garage that didn't look very good, and I tried to make a modular building because I have some modular buildings, and I thought, oh, if I can build a garage that fits with these, then that'll look cool. And I realized that I don't have the parts or the motivation to build a really detailed building. I'm building this because I want to build a garage to display cars and not necessarily a building to display. So I kind of made a mock-up one and then realized this isn't going to work. And so I tore it down pretty quick, but I didn't film most of the building process. So I'll show a little bit of it here. So I wanted to do something that's relatively not complicated, kind of like the old garages that some of you will remember from like multiple years ago. But it's less chaotic and oversized and just really big. I want to make something small and detailed and nice and clean. There's a really cool car storage place called Kiklo Spaces, I think it's pronounced. And they have these really cool rooms that just... here's what it looks like. It's really cool. It's super clean. There's not much to look at except the car. So I thought something like this would be cool. And so in the previous attempt, you can see I had a lot of dark gray plates on the ground, or for the ground, which are fine, but they look kind of... they don't look great. They don't look very flat. And so while I did use this on the old garages, I decided, I have a whole bunch of these white panels from the old garages, from the walls of them. Let's use these as the floor by putting them on their sides and building them. Although I did notice that many were extremely faded from the sun. So I got as many decent looking ones together as I could find and just put them sideways on the floor. And this means we have this nice studless floor that's much more parts efficient and cleaner than using tiles, which would have a lot of grooves, and I just don't have that many tiles, and so this works really nicely. And I use these weird sideways building plates that I have a ton of for, I don't know why I have so many of these, but I have a ton of these, and so I put a bunch of these back here and attached a wall on them with some bricks. Now, I had thought originally that I would add a car stacker, like I had in an old garage, against this wall. And so I made it just over 2 cars tall, so we could try and fit one against it. But then I found out it looked much nicer without a car stacker. And so you can put one in there. I have an old tutorial video on it if you want to see how that goes together. It's pretty simple. But for now we'll be skipping the car stacker. And so I got some of these parts with these I want to call them panels. They're not quite panels. They have this X pattern in the center and they look very cool. I'm using these mostly because I used up all the white panels on the floor, and all the other ones I have are just super yellowed, and so I'm going to use these ones because they're still roughly the same color. These made for a nice background. They also kind of change up the look a bit so it's not too boring. So this is good. So for this garage, I also wanted to add a smaller second floor because the old garages had them, and it was kind of cool to have like the car area below it and enough kind of place for minifigures to hang out up above with some stuff for them to do. And it also looks kind of like this other garage I found on the internet that looked extremely cool with this kind of walkway in the back, although we wanted something a little bit more cozy than a storage area. So I thought about using these 8x8 plates with grates in them, and I think I might have used these in the old one. But I wanted this to be, like I said, a bit cozier, and this doesn't look especially cozy. It looks very walkway-like. And so we got just some normal plates. We started to build 8 stud wide, and this looked a bit narrow for what I wanted to put up there. So we widened it to 10 plates wide, or 10 studs wide, not 10 plates. I added these support pieces that are a bit preformed looking, but they add some detail and color variation. I think they look good. I went back and forth between 2 and 3 of these. If we put 2 in, then we can probably fit 3 cars. We put 3 in, we can probably fit 2 cars. Ultimately, I thought it looks nicer with less cars, and so we'll just put 3. And then after that, I wanted to put some panels up for the wall on the second floor. And I was looking for these dark green ones that I had in the previous garages because they have a very nice contrast with the white and the light gray. But for some reason, I only find 3. I have no idea where they all went. My parts are kind of all over the place right now, and so I just found 3, and I found 3 light gray ones. 2 of these have stickers on one side though, so I put the gray ones on the other direction, and I put them on one side, and I put the green ones on the other side. And this kind of created 2 different like spaces. Well, I mean, obviously it's one space, but we could separate them and it would be kind of 2 different environments, and so I thought we could make use of that. I then added a transparent guardrail, which is similar to the old garages. And yeah, at this point you can probably tell this is just like a nicer version of the old ones. We're not really kind of making that one. We're not really using that many new ideas. We're just kind of upgrading that old one considerably. So now that we had the basic structure done, I wanted to add some detail. So I went to my minifigure part accessories bin and got a bunch of crates. I got some tools. I got a toolbox that was around from the very old garage. This thing's multiple years old, still around somehow, and it looks pretty good, so we're going to put it in there. I had a motorcycle, which I thought works pretty nicely here, and I found a hand truck, and so just added a nice bit of detail on the lower level. Now, one thing I had in the old garage was a minifigure scale racing rig, racing simulator, and so I built up another one here. I use the gaming controller with the racing controls print from the BMW set, which makes for a very nice racing steering wheel. And I found this tile with a sticker on it that makes for a nice little screen. Got a picture of a Mini Cooper on there. Cutscene going on there. Now recently I visited this shop that had a really nice area to hang out with, like couches and tables and some cool posters on the walls and stuff. And so I wanted to kind of try and replicate that. So I tried to build something similar here. I made this kind of minimal couch with just bricks and tiles. It's pretty simple. Put some feet on the bottom of them. I made a little center table and a coffee table, and although the legs in the center table are not particularly stable, I'm not quite sure why I went with this design, but it looks cool. Now going back to the shop I mentioned, they also had this incredibly cool wall just covered in skate decks, which have cars on them. And I have two like this in my room, and so I thought it'd be cool to try and put a couple of these in here. I came up with this design for a skateboard deck using a 1x3 round plate and some tiles. Obviously it doesn't have a car on it, and maybe it kind of does. It could be a skateboard. It looks like a human-sized pill. It's kind of a weird shape, but I think it looks close enough to a skateboard deck. So I made 4 of these, I connected them, and I put them above the couch here on the wall. And I thought it actually looks pretty sick. Just a nice little bit of color on there. So now I wanted to add some sort of divider between the two wall colors, so we kind of separate the living room, if you want to call it that, and the area with the sim rig. So I made this shelf, and I put 1x2 tiles on it to represent model cars. So we have model cars within the model cars. This made a good separation between the areas, and kind of just, and so the two wall colors don't look so jarring next to each other. I added some tiles to form a dark blue rug, which is another nice contrast to dark green and light gray. I was also looking for more things to add. I remember this big Ninjago set that's on my shelf has a cool arcade cabinet in it, so I stole it from there and put it down in the garage, and it looked really nice. Another good, just the blue, different shades of blue look quite nice in here with the dark green. I also wanted to try and add some sort of rug or something here, and all I could find were these bright blue tiles, the same color as the arcade cabinet. They're a little bit wacky looking, but I think they work, and they just kind of break things up a bit and make it look a bit less drab, so I think it's good. I added a couple more accessories, including the surfboard that also matches the blue shade that these other things are. And then I found some cameras, and I put these in there, and cameras just go nicely with cars, so just put a couple around the room, although I'm not quite sure how the minifigures are going to reach this one on top of the shelf, but we'll let them deal with that. So there we have our display garage. It's rather simple, but it's really just to display models in, so you can put them on there, and they look really cool because of the white floor. It's a great contrast for most models, even the white cars. It's really cool to put a bunch of different models on there and see how they look. It also fits nicely in this IKEA shelf, so we can display cars in on the shelf, which I think is really sick. And there it is. Like I said, if you would like to build this yourself with instructions, they are available at my website. Link is in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you return for the next video. Have a great day.